Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the June 1st, 2021 Board of Health meeting at 6:08 p.m. Just do a couple things here, bear with me. So the first item on the agenda is citizens participation. Anybody here for citizens participation?
I'd like to reserve my time, but give my time to KG.
Okay, thank you, Mark. KG, you.
Yes, I do. I take this opportunity to thank all the citizens of Ashland. Unfortunately, I tried to downsize my house, and for a short while, I'll be a non-resident of Ashland, and then I have to resign the board's position. So I won't be voting on any issues today, and I will submit the resignation in writing. I guess you need a wet signature to the chair of the board soon. And I hope to come back to Ashland in a couple of months as a resident. So I'll make an effort to rejoin if the opportunity exists. I'll definitely would like to serve the Board of Health for a few more years. Thank you.
Thank you, KG. It's shocking news to me.
Indeed.
So, I mean, it's the way the market is right now too. I'm sure your household's very fast, but
right.
even if there's not a position on the board, that when you come back, we'll always use your help. We always have project-based things that I know you're very interested in.
I'll still be participating as a citizen in every meeting. Don't worry.
That's good. That's good. We'll keep you busy.
Yes.
Well, thank you for that, KG.
Yeah, and just from a personal note, KG, that you've been here ever since I've been here, and you're basically a great mentor to me, with helping me get going, and you're certainly an asset to the town for all the effort that you've put in on the various committees, the Conservation Committee and the Board of Health, and just being involved with the town. So you will definitely be missed, and thank you for all your hard work for all of us.
I'm just resigning because the law requires me to resign. It's not that
I know that's why you have to, and hopefully we'll be welcoming you back in a couple of months.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too. So see what happens.
Sure.
So with that said, of course, KG is more than welcome to stay on the meeting, but for the new members, because KG is not a resident, he will not be able to participate in the board votes tonight. So just so you know. Mark, did you have something you wanted to talk about for citizens participation? Because we're going to move on. Okay, if you don't, Mark, we can move on. It's okay.
Sorry. I think, well, what KG said there. I have one through you to him. There's a curious question. Are the other committees going to be missing you too?
I probably yes or no. I'm not sure about it because I got a call back from somebody about an alternate means. I don't know what it is, but they're trying to get that straightened out. They will do that.
So are you still on the others? Or?
I don't know yet because I just only found out at about 5:18 that the council gave a ruling saying that I cannot continue, which I had asked for them to find out what the situation is because I just didn't want to err on the part of the law. So I had sent an email on the 27th of May to Tara Ward, and then I got a response today.
So the very last thing is going to be quick. So with KG, welcome to the Citizens Army.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. All right. Well, what I would like to do now, Bernadette, I know you watched some of our meetings, but I wanted to welcome you to the board. And I know you've been to our board meetings before, and we have a good group of people here.
Thank you.
So welcome aboard.
Thank you so much.
And our next item on the agenda is reorganization of the board, because annually with the election, we do reorganize the chair, vice chair, and the clerk, and then the other two are members. So a little shocked by KG's news, so I'm a little struck by that, but I just wanted to tell you that, myself or any of the members, I mean, we will walk you through all the discussions at the meeting. If you have any questions, please just speak up and say, to explain things to you. Everybody's vote counts. We want to make sure that you understand exactly what you're voting on. And again, please, if you have any questions before we take a vote, just let us know.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. With that said, we're going to do a reorganization of the board. And it's, again, a little different for KG because he's in my left corner here. But I, as the chair, cannot. I was gonna say now since we have 4 members, I guess I still can't. I cannot make a nomination for a chair. I have been doing it for the last couple of years, and I have enjoyed it. But I think it's very healthy to pass it along to other board members and reorganize annually. So my suggestion would be, and one Bernadette or Barbara would have to make the motion, is my recommendation would be is to ask Ron if he would like to be the chair of the board for the next year. So with that said, if you agree with what I said about nominating Ron as chair, you can either reiterate it in your own words, or you can say, I move your motion. So if you want to have a discussion about it, we can discuss it as well.
I moved for the election. I agree with what Diane says. I know you've been good. You've been very helpful since I joined the board. But the question also too is Ron willing to take
Accept it?
to accept the position?
I'll ask him, Ron, would you be willing to accept the nomination as chair?
You've done a wonderful job and you're terrific at it. As long as you can help me out a little bit, I would love to try to help and take on this responsibility.
Okay.
Awesome. Of course, I'm always here.
Thank you.
I'll go with Dan's pick as well, because I'm pretty sure she knows everybody much more than me. So I'll go with whatever you recommend. Yeah, if Ron is willing to take the position.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, Ron.
I'll try.
Okay, so would one of you just say that I make the motion, and then we can do a second. So each motion somebody has to make a motion, then we take a second, and then if there's any further discussion, if not, we vote. And Bernadette, just to let you know how we normally vote is we just we raise our hand and say Diane, aye, Bernadette, aye. And if you want to abstain from a vote, that's absolutely fine for whatever reason. Or of course, if you want to vote no, you can just vote no as well. So with that said, can I have a motion to nominate Ron as chairman of the Board of Health for the next year?
Aye.
I give
So
a motion.
I'm going to say Bernadette just made the motion. So Barbara, you would second it. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Diane. Bernadette, you're aye, correct?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye, Bob.
We'll get the rhythm, don't worry.
Jeez.
Okay, so what we do is we do a chair, we do a vice chair, and we do a clerk, and then the remaining 2 members will be members of the board. So do I hear a motion to nominate somebody as vice chair of the board?
I'd like to make a motion if you're willing to accept it, Diane.
Yep.
Can you be vice chair, or is it you want to be further away?
I would be willing to accept vice chair with you. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to make that motion.
Thank you.
Okay. I second that, Bob.
Great.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
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 Ron, I'll just take us through the whole vote, and then we'll change hands here. Okay, do I hear a nomination for clerk of the board? So would either have
Barbara,
to
you
be,
want to do it? You feel comfortable?
you asking Barbara?
If you want to do it?
I can try it. I haven't. Sure.
Yeah.
That's okay.
There is not much duty on the clerk anyway.
Hey, come on, you guys are lying to her. That means she's on call 24 hours a day. Come on.
That's the hardest position. Nobody wants that.
All right, I'll take it.
I'll make the motion to nominate Barbara for the clerk of the board.
Do I hear a second?
Aye.
There you go, Bernadette.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. All in favor?
Yeah.
Diane, aye.
Aye.
All right. We made it. Hey,
Excellent.
hey, Ron. Hey.
Man, I'm done.
Congratulations,
I
Ron.
have to start right now. I don't get a reprieve until
You want a
No
little
training.
break?
until the 16th.
Do you want a break? I'll do it.
No, I mean, I didn't know I'd have to do it tonight.
That's
You
fine.
you want to finish out?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
No problem.
Thank you.
Hey, we're not always traditional, right?
Okay.
All right. Sergeant Berman, COVID update.
All right. Hi, everybody. Hope everyone had a great weekend. So your COVID updates. So first of all, today is really the official opening day of all of our town buildings. What we did was we came up with some guidelines for all of our town departments. Last week, we pushed those guidelines out to all our division heads and gave them the opportunity to ask questions, concerns, and over the last couple of days of last week, we were able to answer a lot of the division heads and their employees' questions. So all town buildings are now open. If people are vaccinated, they do not have to wear a mask, but we are still recommending anybody that was not vaccinated to wear a mask. We've also obviously given all of our employees the option whether they want to wear a mask or not. The other thing that we did do, everybody, though, was, according to the CDC guideline, everybody, if you're exposed to somebody that's positive and you were vaccinated, under the current CDC guidelines, you do not have to quarantine. But what we've done in our employee policy is we've said, if you've been vaccinated, but you have a household member that is positive, we're asking you to quarantine just because they have that potential for the additional exposures over and over again. So they are following the same guidelines. So after the first day of the exposure will be their day 0. We ask them to come and get tested at my office on day 5. And if they have no symptoms and are negative, they return to work on day 8. We've done that for a couple of reasons. Number one, again, because of the potential for repeated exposures. But we now have 4 cases in Ashland over the last 2 weeks of fully vaccinated people that have had a household member that was positive and they have become positive. Because remember, we do have that 7 to 8% chance, and we now have 4 confirmed cases of that. So we've done that to err on the side of safety for our other employees and visitors of our town buildings. Any questions on that before I move on? No? Okay, so we actually had on Thursday and Friday of last week, we actually had 0 open cases in Ashland, which was the first time since COVID hit. But unfortunately, the weekend hit, and we now have 6 open cases from the weekend. What's interesting, everybody, is that 4 of the 6 are 14 and 15-year-olds that have been non-vaccinated. The other 2 are family members of those, some of those 14, 15-year-olds. Interestingly, after we did a little research, we found out there may have been a little get-together at somebody's house, and one of the kids was symptomatic and, of course, spread it. So what we did was we quarantined 5 additional people from that, and they are getting tested tomorrow. And if they're negative, they can return to school on day 8. But we're following that closely. Our vaccine clinic is going really, really well in Westboro, everybody, with our 6 other town collaborative. We will be running the vaccine clinic till the end of the month. We are doing right now, everybody 12 years old and up. I did send out to the board our stats as of like last week, I'm sure you all got that with our statistics. I'm really happy to say, especially in our over 65 population, where we're at over 95% of our over 65 population is vaccinated. This past Saturday, we did second dose Pfizer, almost 800 kids for their second dose at the clinic on Saturday. If I know this meeting is televised, and if any of you know, for the next 3 weeks, we have received extra vaccine because our clinic is so efficient. So if anybody is still looking for vaccine, they can call our COVID hotline at 508-532-7900. We can get them scheduled for an appointment. We have both Pfizer and Moderna available to anybody. Obviously, Moderna is for 18 and over, but the Pfizer is for 12 years old and up. So we can accommodate many more people if anyone is looking for appointments. One of the things we had a discussion, everybody, with our collaborative, and what we found really interesting, with this 7-town collaborative, was how efficient we've become really quickly, and how we all get along. There's no personalities. So we've decided that this will be a long-term relationship that we are going to stay in. Because what we thought was, even as COVID winds down, come this fall, we would make a great team to hold some flu clinics, different things like that. So this will be a long vested interest, I believe, and really to benefit the town of Ashland and our residents and employees. We think it'll be really helpful in the future. So that's my quick update, unless anybody has any questions.
I have a question for you, Ed, and it might have been done, and I apologize because I have been away from the office, but one of the establishments mentioned me, goes, "Oh, I thought we would have gotten something from you." And I'm like, "Oh." And I don't know if he was just looking for like that we should just explain that we're not, like, collectively as a board, we're not doing anything any more than what the governor's orders are. And I didn't know if your other communities sent something out to their business population.
Yeah, nobody did. The only thing we all kind of collaborated on was that employee thing for our own buildings, opening up our own buildings.
I just wanted to make sure, because I didn't feel that we needed to talk about, I mean, maybe it's my bad. I didn't think we needed to talk about whether the board was going to take further action. We're going to, let, the governor's guidelines, prevail. So I don't know if they maybe just expected something. It could have been just a perspective. And then,
sorry, real quick. The one thing I am kind of curious about is to see if, toward the end of this week or beginning of next week, if we see any uptick, due to the holiday. That'd be, see if any, but I'll keep an eye on that.
Right. And the vote that we took, I'd have to look back, but I think the vote that we took also as the Board of Health as well as the Select Board was to give the authorization to the town manager, Michael Herbert, anyhow. But I mean, we obviously collectively, I don't think anybody feels that we need to do anything further. I'm assuming, making an assumption. So I think we would just let it go. But I did want to, of course, my ears piped up when I just heard that about the regionalization, because as you know, for the last few years, I've been trying to get a regional nursing program through the city of Framingham. So, obviously I want to work with you on that, because I've already met with Audrey LaCroix, and we've kind of working on a different avenue in our time frame and what we need and how many families. So I have all that, and I can share it with you, and maybe we can use that as a resource and maybe start with those communities.
Yeah, it's really, I've learned so much from either of these other people. We're now calling each other almost daily. Right. It's really been working out great. I'm pretty happy with it.
That's good. KG, do you have a question?
I have just a statement to make with regard to that manager's authority. I think that expires as soon as the governor's emergency expires. So that was tied into it anyway.
Actually, KG, Raj looked that up. I think Raj knows more about that. He was looking at that.
Yes, Mr. Berman. So, Mr. KG, I find a copy of an order that was passed by the board. It was an unsigned copy. but it says like the board adopted the emergency, and besides the governor's state of emergency, but the board have to lift it, so that's what the document says.
So I mean, we have a signed copy. It was actually done at an email meeting back when this whole thing happened. Things were obviously a lot different, but I can tell you that we do have a signed copy, and we can review that if we don't know exactly where it stands now. I couldn't recall it. Just honestly, it seems like such a long time ago, and I know it's been a long year for everybody. So
Yeah.
we can pull that anyhow.
Yes, please.
1 minute. All right. All right. So Ed, are you all set? All right. Anybody have any other questions for Ed? All right. We're gonna move
Thanks,
right
Ed.
along.
Oh, sorry. I do have one more quick thing to tell everybody. I'm sorry. Everybody, just so you know, we have completed, except for, I'm going to finish Mark and his father tomorrow. We have completed all of our homebound visits, people that could not get out for a vaccine. Anybody that requested one has received it.
Awesome job.
Great.
That's fabulous. All right, moving on to 34 High Street for a couple septic waiver requests. I apologize, I'm multitasking with the phone here. So, there's Eric. Hi, Eric.
Hi, how are you? It's been
Good.
a while.
Yeah, I know, huh? Do you want to just give a quick overview to the board on the property, what they're doing, and the requests, and then if anybody has any questions for you, as well as Tom Ryder is here as well. So
Can I share my screen? Would that be?
Sure.
Okay.
Laura will make you.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Laura has all the powers up.
Can you see it?
Not yet. I think she's going to have to make you a co-host.
Right.
Okay.
I just did.
Okay, you should be all set now, Eric.
You can see it?
No.
Okay.
I'm not judging because I probably couldn't get it to work no matter what.
I clicked it, so it should. Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
There it is.
Okay. All right, so here we go. This is 34 High Street. If you're not familiar with 34 High Street, it's the street, where Burnham Supper House is. That as you're going around the bend, it's that left there. If you go up there, you cross over the train tracks. This property is about 1,000 feet up on the left. It's a little small house, little 3-bedroom house right here. It's very wooded in the back of it. There's a wetland system in the front yard. You guys see those yellow things popping up on my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, it's because of AutoCAD. I'm sorry. There's a wetland system in the front. There's a brook that runs along here to the wetland system. And I believe this drains over to the river. Anyway, the existing septic system now is a cesspool. It's behind the house right here where my pointer is. It is in failure because it's in the groundwater. It's also, as you can see, closer to the 50, it's within the 50-foot buffer, so it's closer to the wetland. With that said, the testing was performed down gradient in the front of the property towards High Street. The soils came back pretty poor. It's a very high water table. I think what was it? Redox was at 24 inches, and the testing engineer couldn't even run a perk. He ended up sending the soil to UMass for a sieve analysis, which came back probably the worst rate you can at a 0.15. So this system is very large. It's going to disturb a lot of area. Which, as you can see, if you compare it to the size of the house, it's almost double the size of the house. Given those constraints, we decided to go with a DEP-approved alternative system called an ELGIN. This system, because of its advanced treatment, allows us to go closer to groundwater. Instead of 2 feet, instead of 4 feet, we ended up going 2 feet. We've stepped the system down the slope. It also allows us to go 40% smaller in size. The system will still require a pump. It has to because of the driveway. To get underneath that existing driveway right here, we have to have the pipe go down, and then it's going to pump it up to the field up here. It's the elevation above the existing grade is approximately four or 5 feet. There will be 2 walls in the front of the property here, or in the front of the septic system, 2 walls with tiered 2.5-foot walls. The homeowner can plant shallow rooted plants in those areas, nothing with a large root system that could get into the system eventually and destroy it. But given the constraints of this site, the heavily wooded area, which isn't really shown right here, the wetland system, there will be some variances, as you can see, from the local and the state, which we've listed out here. Would you like me to go through them, or? Oops, I can't.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, Eric, if you don't mind, we have one new board member, and I just want to, if you just go over them just briefly, I just want to make sure you're comfortable with them.
Yeah. Okay. The first one is this is a local variance in Ashland's regulations. To determine site suitability, 3 test pits are required. Due to groundwater intrusion, there's this test pit symbol. Tom's on right now. He actually told me this morning there was 2 test pits performed in this area. A little background on this project: we weren't the original engineers. We took over the project from another engineering company. And on the plan that I had, it only had 1 test pit, but Tom was the Board of Health witness, and he texted me this morning and told me there was another test pit performed there. Still not 3, so there still is a variance, but that's one of the variances that we're requesting. Only 1 test pit. You're supposed to have 3 within that field there. Yep. That's section 303-7A. The next variance is also a local variance, 303-11. Provisions for a garbage disposal unit included in all calculations, whether or not it's actually installed. Due to the size of the system, we didn't think that we were asking for a waiver that would have required the system to be 1.5 times larger. We just don't have the area for it. As it stands, they're not adding any additional bedrooms, and they're improving the situation out there by replacing a system that's in the groundwater and contaminating the groundwater. The third variance is a local, also from Ashland. There should be a minimum distance of 10 feet wall to wall between these trenches right here. The DEP approval for this technology allows 6 feet. So that's what we're using in there. It's been studied by the state, and that's adequate for the treatment and the separation that they. So that's what they've approved. The last variance for the local is to allow a minimum distance between the wetlands and water bodies to all components of the system. It's supposed to be 75 feet in Ashland. Right here, it's 61.2. I couldn't push it over here very much further to achieve that setback. Typically, it's 100 feet. Ashland is more strict in that regulation than the state standard. I should note right now that this project is also going through conservation that has not been approved yet by them. Then the Title V variances. This is moving down to allow the soil absorption system to be installed 2 feet above the seasonal high groundwater for soils with rates greater than 2 minutes per inch per the Elgin GSF system. These systems are approved by DEP to go 2 feet to groundwater if you have a percolation rate over 2 minutes per inch. And based on the soil analysis from UMass, it's greater, a lot greater than 2 minutes an inch. It's actually 60 minutes per inch, which is pretty poor. Another variant, the second variance in the state, to allow the reduction of the requirement of the 12-inch separation between the inlet and outlet to high groundwater. As I said, this test pit had groundwater at 24 inches without raising the house here, raising the pipe. You can't really raise the pipe any more than it is. So that pipe that's coming out of the house existing or proposed without raising the whole structure is going to be within the groundwater, within 12 inches of the groundwater elevation, because it's only at groundwater, I should say, follows grade. So in this area, groundwater is also assumed to be at 24 inches as it is down here. So this pipe would have to come out 12 inches below grade, which is well, more than 12 inches to meet that requirement, which it cannot. The third variance is to design the system based on a sieve analysis, which is what I said. We had to send it to UMass. It came that because we had groundwater intrusion. What happens with groundwater intrusion is you try to dig a perk hole in the layer that you're trying to test in over here, like the sandy loam layer. If you dig a perk hole, it has to be 12 inches wide by 18 inches deep. If you're in the process of digging that perk hole, if water starts coming into that hole, you can't run the perk, obviously, because the water won't go down. So what the DEP allows is you take a sample of that soil in that layer and you send it off to their lab. They run it through an analysis and then they assign a rate to it. I should have said that before, but that's what that means. And then this one is actually the fourth one, can actually be thrown out based on what I said before that Tom informed me of this morning. The state requires 2 deep holes in the system. Ashland requires 3. According to Tom, they did 2 in the system, which I didn't have record of. So that variance can basically go away. And then the last thing is with this type of system, I should mention the alternative systems. They do require, because they're giving you the 40% reduction in size, the 2-foot reduction in groundwater, they do require you to record a deed restriction on this property that says that house will always stay a 3-bedroom. The only way you can ever add a bedroom to that house is if you replace that septic system or that field and construct a system in full compliance, which would be a very, very large system. So there will be a deed restriction on this house that'll carry from owner to owner. It says the septic system out there now is a 3-bedroom system, and it will never be more. I mean, they can add other rooms, living rooms, dens, things off the back, but they cannot add another bedroom unless they replace that field. I believe also that the town, I did exclude it from this. I forgot it. Tom also brought that up. The town is also going to require a garbage grinder deed restriction. It says the homeowner, the current homeowner, any future homeowners cannot add a garbage grinder to the system. Mark used to go into the houses, I believe, and make sure that they weren't installed before he signed off. And that's about it. I hope that was fairly clear. Yeah.
It's very complicated, but very clear in the same aspect, if that makes sense, right? So I just want to make sure. So the only one you don't need is for the 310 CMR, correct?
Yeah, 310. Okay. 405. Yeah, 405K. Yeah.
So because well, I was going to say, Raj, do you have any questions for Eric? I'm assuming you and Tom, everybody has communicated. Do you have any questions or any statements or?
This is Tom here. Sorry, Raj. I just wanted to make sure that I make it clear for the new members what Eric is providing. So he's looking for what we call local upgrade approvals from the state code, which is for repairs of septic systems. The Board of Health is allowed to vary certain sections of the code without a public hearing. So a variance would require notification to abutters and provide information that it would be manifestly unjust and that they meet the equivalent environmental benefit with their septic system. So in this case, he's not requesting a variance from the code. He's asking for a local upgrade, which is allowed for repairs. Hopefully that wasn't confusing, but it is quite a difference. So these are items that the board is allowed to waiver that the state says it will still meet the environmental benefit and the health benefit. The variances are for the local Board of Health regulations, the Ashland regulations. That doesn't require notification either, but just the board needs to act on those as well. There's a couple other items that's that Eric is going to provide. I have to see if he can be forwarded off the soil testing information so he knows where the other test pit was located. I think one of my only comments is that he's going before conservation. I don't think there's going to be significant changes, but if they're requesting a few items, perhaps they might want a location for where extra hay bales are going to be located, or where the stockpiling of soils, or where the equipment's going to be driving through. I don't think that's a significant change for the Board of Health. So I would say that we could handle that in the office. But if the board, but if the conservation says nope, they got to try a different location, then we'll have to start over again.
All right, thank you, Tom. We do meet, in general, we do meet every other week. I mean, obviously, if there's a situation that we need to have a meeting to discuss this further, or add or subtract or whatever, we can do that. So as long as everybody keeps in communication, we'll be able to, assuming they want it done sooner than later. Raj, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Thanks. So I did review it, I had a word with Mr. Tom Ryder on this,
Yep.
I will go with his recommendation,
Okay.
As he said, it's still going before the Conservation Commission, so.
Right. Yep.
So that'll be my thought. Thank you.
Yep. So, Eric, do you mind taking that off your screen just so I can see it?
Oh, sorry.
No worries. I just can't see my members. I like being able to see everybody.
Sorry about that.
Again, I know we have I know Barbara's not as new, but Bernadette, do you have any questions that you want clarified, whether it's from our engineer or their engineer? Are you comfortable with these waivers based on the information given? Barbara, Bernadette?
I'm not so familiar with the waivers, but I think he did a good job explaining what the variances are and the responsibilities of the board in regard to the variances. So, yeah, I mean, with time, I'm learning and learning. So.
Oh no, that's fine. And I just want to make sure you're comfortable before I ask for a vote. So.
Yeah.
Ron, do you have any questions?
Yeah, just one. Eric, I know this is going to be a stupid question, but I'll ask it anyway, because I live just off of High on Hardwick. So are all those houses going up High Street on the left-hand side? Are those all not able to be connected to public water and sewer? Or is
I'm not certain.
Okay.
No, I know there's no public sewer in front of this particular property. Yeah. I'm not sure further up where it meets.
Where High Street Extension is, and
it might at Ramblewood. I don't know.
Ramblewood, yeah.
Ramblewood's all septic as well.
Oh, is it?
Okay.
Septic. Yep, because we've had Ramblewood.
No, it's just very interesting.
Yeah.
No, I think you did a great job of explaining that as well. So
thank you.
All right, I know this is, I'll make the motion because I'm not technically chair, so I can. So I would like to make a motion to approve the local variances for the Ashland Board of Health regulations, the Title V local upgrade approval to not include 310 CMR 15.405 with the condition that a condition conservation approval, as well as a deed recording for the garbage disposal and a deed recording under the state code for the bedroom room restriction.
Well said. I will second that.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor of all of the waivers? Diane, aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. All right, Eric, good job. Thank you.
Thank
Tom,
you,
very
guys.
much as well.
Okay, take care.
We'll get that paperwork ready for you. I'm not
Okay.
too sure if you're going to handle that, but you can work with Laura and Raj on that. For the- All right. Moving right along to the next item on the agenda is to discuss granting authorization to Raj Gupta, Health Agent Director, to sign off on all Board of Health issued permits, excuse me, with the exception of septic waivers and grease trap waivers. Some of the board members who have been on here and maybe people who have watched our meetings in the past with our prior health director, we gave him the same authority to issue permits without having to bring them in front of the board every time. So obviously it helps people conduct business as well as properties that maybe are doing, I think irrigation is one of them. There's certain things that he can issue as long as there's no waivers like we just approved and reviewed. And also for grease traps, we have a grease trap regulation that requires all of our establishments either to have it or have a waiver. So again, those septic waivers and grease trap waivers are not allowed to be approved by the health director, but everything else would be. So does anybody have any questions on that? If not, I will make a motion to grant authorization to Rajit, Gupta, Health Agent Director, to sign off on all Board of Health issued permits with the exception of septic waivers and grease trap waivers.
I'll
So I
second
hear
that.
second, thank you. Any further discussion? If no further discussion, all in favor? Diane, aye.
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 Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, again, I know it's a little different because I'm the vice chair now, but a couple of items that are on the agenda that I have usually leave on there as standing items. I mentioned earlier with Sergeant Berman is that we were trying to, we received a grant for intermunicipal services with City of Framingham, Hudson, and Holliston. Unfortunately, the grant does expire at the end of June. A lot had to do with COVID, but unfortunately, we're not able to fulfill our obligation and provide services under that grant. To my knowledge, basically, we're going to just ride it out through the month of June, and the grant dies by default. But the good thing is we've done a lot. I've done a lot of research on this, and I'm going to work with Sergeant Berman because if we're going to have this collaborative with those other communities, they clearly have a lot of experience with running these clinics. And that's basically what our services we're looking for as a region is to have nursing services for immunizations for mainly our pre and preschool children, as well as flu clinics, any other vaccination clinics. So I do look forward to working with Ed and that group, and hopefully we can get that up and running in the future. And again, I can get into more details about it, but just to let you know, when I did talk to the Audrey LaCroix, who is our head school nurse, she felt that those clinics would be appropriate in August. Again, helping, it's not just even the vaccinations, it's also helping with other services that they may need and the connections to the community being new in the town. So hopefully we can pull that together and again, maybe have more like almost like a welcoming fair and have other services that we can provide there too. So That'll be exciting to work with those other communities. The other thing that has been a standing item on my agenda is the Medical Reserve Corps. I've been very passionate about that, and I think we've Raj and I have met, and Laura as well. We have some new creative ideas on maybe taking some of this on ourselves with recruiting new members, providing training, just kind of exciting our residents back to where we used to be with the Medical Reserve Corps. Again, I know things have been very different for everybody, over the last year or so. So hopefully we can get, even if it's virtual trainings, meetings, get-togethers. So hopefully we'd like to get our Medical Reserve Corps members reactive. So we're working on that. And that's about it for me. So the Health Agent Director's agenda, Raj, it's all you.
Thank you. I just want to say, first, I want to say hi to Barbara and Bernadette. I know I have not met you in person, but just want to say hi, and just want to say to Mr. KG also, I will miss you, I know this is my second meeting and I'm losing my second board member, so I mean, I welcome Bernadette, but this little hard, but so I am gonna go on my first topic, that's the mosquito control. So the CMMCP, that the committee where we are member of, they did aerial spraying in last week of May. Total of 207 acres was covered in Ashland. With the 2019 figures, we are still in critical, what they are saying, classifying communities. There are total 12 communities around us that are critical, with EEE, and Ashland is one of them. And that's why that spraying was done for a total of 207 acres. And now in the month of June, we have various dates, then they're gonna do door-to-door spraying for mosquitoes. Those dates are, it was June 1st today, 17th, 14th, 21 and 28. Then this is when they're gonna be doing spraying for mosquitoes. Anybody, they can reach out to our office or CMMCP, directly to schedule that. The other thing they're doing is also treating any of the swimming pools that are sitting, people are not using it, like kind of abandoned pools and all that. They're doing special treatment for that. One treatment is enough, so please bring it to us if there is anyone, we have one complaint that we're gonna get that treated, but this is where we are on the spraying. With the food establishments, McDonald's have a change of ownership, so I thought I'll bring it to the board. Family Dollar Store, we had another complaint, and based off that, we did an inspection and we did find violations there, though it's a low risk establishment, and I know they had a history with the board. So based on that, we had put them in on a 72 hours notice, but they corrected it before that, I'll keep you posted upcoming, but that was the situation with the Family Dollar.
Rajiv, what was the violation there?
Dr. Ron, it's just general, the complaint was, unhygienic trash around, based on that, we do an inspection, and we did find some violations,
Okay.
And because this was ongoing, and I know they've been before board, or at least this was an ongoing issue, and because of that, it was given that notice to be corrected within that time, or we're gonna bring it to the board again, But they did comply and corrected all the violations. But we're gonna keep a close eye, and we'll keep the board posted.
Okay, thank you.
Then thanks. The next item is Corner Spot Farmers Market. Farmers Market is just, a week and a half away, so we're just working on the permits and all that for that, as well as Corner Spot. So a lot of new vendors coming there. So that's all from my side. If you have any questions, please,
Thank you, Raj. Now, I just want to say, I know that the, I've talked to Tom, our food inspector, and I mean, we can reevaluate whether we want them to come in front of us next meeting. I think it's, I'm not sure where it stands right now, so I just think it should be a discussion maybe that Ron and I can have before the next meeting, and maybe put them on for review. for the next
Absolutely,
meeting.
please, yes.
All right. All right. So Bernadette, just to let you know, Ron might do things a little bit different as the chair, but just to let you know, what I did is when I was chair, is I put things on a consent that it's a notification and not necessarily something we have to discuss, but of course, if there's anything under the consent agenda, we can pull it off. So for example, the FY 2021 budget, there's a budget report attached to your email, and it lets you know where our budget stands, financially. It's not something we usually discuss, so we usually put it on the consent just to acknowledge that people saw it and received it. It's the same thing with our meeting minutes. Laura has down here March 16th and April 6th, excuse me. And again, those things, I hope the board, if they had any questions, problems, concerns, they would bring it to Laura's attention prior to a meeting so we could leave it on as a consent. So with that said, normally what we do is just take a motion to approve the consent agenda items and move on. Again, Ron might change it in the future, but in general, if there's something that you want to pull out of that consent agenda. I'm sorry?
I'm keeping it. I love that idea.
Oh, good. Well, again, even board members, I mean, if there's anything, let's just say, I can't think of an example, but let's say Ashland Day. Say somebody says, oh, Ashland Day is coming up September, whatever, and they want it to be just a notification for the board as well as the public. Those are things that we can put on a consent just to let people know, because people do watch our meetings, as well as notification to the board members. So with that said, if I can have a motion to approve the consent agenda, somebody make a motion?
I'll make that motion. I'd like to.
Actually, Ron, sorry, we're switching roles here. You can't make the motion.
No, I can't. You can. Right.
Let me just back up, sorry.
Okay.
I'm going to make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay. I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. All right. And then the next meeting, just want to double check myself. The next meeting is June 15th. And with Ron, with Ron taking over as chair, do you have any items that you want to discuss? Again, I'm sure both of you know that we have to list things on the agenda and as specific as possible for us to discuss them publicly and openly. So if there's anything you want to put on the agenda that we, needs to be discussed or reviewed, or again, something under the consent for notification, just let Laura, Raj, and Ron know. So if nobody has anything else, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Ron, would you like
I'll second that. Since I can't make it.
All right, thank you. All in favor?
I'll talk to you, Raj. Oh, Di, just one thing. Now that the town hall's open, are we in business to go back in, or is that not happening?
No, yeah, you're welcome, please, yes.
Yes,
So
the town in general, but not, I'm not sure, I've been on vacation, so I'm not sure about public meetings yet. For obvious reasons.
September. Didn't they extend it, Raj, till September?
That is correct, September 1st.
Oh, September. Okay, so we're Zoom or online until September 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Ron, yes, that's my understanding. The governor's office is saying that, they're gonna do the paperwork for that. But for right now, yes, they're saying till September 1st, we can have this kind of meetings, yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
But in general, the town hall is open for people to come in,
Okay.
in general. So like if you wanted to go in and meet with them or whatever, that's fine.
Sorry, I was just going to say, we just need signatures from Ron and Barbara for the tobacco regulations.
Okay.
Thank you. When you have a chance.
Laura, you're open tomorrow, right?
Yep, we'll be there till 7.
Okay. I'll come in tomorrow.
Great.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right, did we vote on that? I think we did.
Yes, you did.
All right, thank you, Laura. All right,
Thank you all.
everybody, have a good night.
Have a
Thank
good
you all.
evening.
Bye.
Thank
All
you.
right, take care.
Thank
Bye,
you.
KG. We'll see you soon.
Of course.
KG.
Yeah. Bye-bye.